With this year's Mei Melee reaching its conclusion, we saw the Dallas Fuel not just come out on top, but also tear through the competition. One of their most notable victories was against the league's 2020 champions, the San Francisco Shock, who were absolutely dismantled by the Fuel in a clean 3-0. In today's episode of Behind the Action, we're going to be looking at the Fuel's attacking round on Eichenwald, where they used Mei and Symmetra to make quick work of the Shock. Mei and Symmetra are infamous for creating unexpected scenarios to overwhelm the opponent. Think back to last year's match between the Outlaws and the Gladiators, where we saw Linkser using a tricky ice wall boost to place a teleporter that allowed his team to steal the high ground from the opponent. Needless to say, if you see these two picked in a league match, you can expect to see some shenanigans, and this week's match was no different. In one of our most recent microplays, we took a look at a perfect hold by the Hunters that showcased just how unforgiving Eichenwald's first point can be for the attacking team. This is thanks to the initial choke giving very little room for mix-ups. But in the match between the Fuel and the Shock, we saw the complete opposite, as the Fuel took the point in a single push. Going into the match, we saw Super walk up past the bridge to scout the enemy team. As soon as he spots them, the Shock make the call to back away from the choke and defend from directly on top of the point. This is likely them not wanting to take the head-on fight with Fuel's rush composition, as well as the possibility of a sneaky teleport right behind them which would leave them surrounded. Little do they know they are playing right into Sparkle's hand. The instant they are around the corner, Sparkle places his teleporter right to the high ground on the back of the point where the Shock have no members positioned to contest. Shock's only chance to disrupt the play is by taking out the Fuel before they can go through the teleporter, which is what they attempt to do. However, this was always going to be a difficult play to pull off, due to the extremely fast reaction the Shock needed to have any chance at success, and Dallas successfully make it through. Now, with 3 members of the Shock tunnel visioned onto the teleporter, the Fuel can drop onto the point uncontested. And as they do, Doha drops his ice wall right behind the Shock players, cutting off their escape route. Nero quickly places his ice wall in hopes of blocking the incoming death ball, but it is already too late, as Doha and Fearless fly in at full speed. Choi Hyobin manages to barely escape thanks to Violet's immortality field, but is too low to re-engage. Now with the Shock down a frontline member and with no immortality field to worry about, splitting Nero off from the team and cornering the rest of the team, which leads to easy pickings and a flawless capture of the cart. In the next fight, Divide and Conquer is the name of the game. As the cart rounds the first corner, Hanbin lands a huge 4-man gravitic flux, and as the Shock slam to the ground, Doha places his ice wall directly in the middle of the enemy, splitting them in half, which he then pairs with his Blizzard, and Sparkle follows up with his Photon Barrier in line with the ice wall. These 3 abilities combined force the Shock to do exactly what the Fuel want. Since they have been split by the Mei wall, the initial reaction would have been just to move around it. But thanks to the Blizzard slow, they will end up frozen if they try and reposition. Since they are now forced to stay on their respective sides of the wall, Sparkle's Photon Barrier acts as a means to allow no interaction between the 2 sides. Striker opts to jump backwards to get away from the Blizzard, as he doesn't want to risk being frozen in the enemy's face, especially since the barrier is cutting him off from Batiste's healing. Nero throws down his Blizzard as well, to give his team some pressure and time to regroup. This gives Choi Hyobin the opportunity to charge the Fuel's backline, as they are now stuck trying to get out of the Blizzard. While this is happening, the 2 Reinhardts are forced into an epic staring contest to the death, which Fearless comes out on top of, but quickly falls as well to a rocket punch to the cranium. In the Fuel's backline, Choi Hyobin attempts to pick off the frozen Symmetra, but thanks to her supports, she is able to stay alive and teleport away, and then immediately back in to laser down the frazzled diva. Striker drops his Meteor Strike but is countered by Jesse's Sound Barrier and is immediately killed by Doha. In a final attempt to turn the tides, Choi Hyobin launches his self-destruct into the air, but just when it looks like it's going to net a double kill, Sparkle simply teleports out of range. While it does find a kill onto Sigma, it is too late, and the Fuel take the fight. Here we saw a great game plan from Dallas, seeking to use first their Gravitic Flux to lock the San Francisco players in place, then using Mei Wall, Blizzard, and Photon Barrier to split San Francisco in half. In usual Shock fashion, they aggressively respond with a flurry of ultimates in an attempt to turn the fight. But some excellent evasive action by Sparkle, coupled with Jesse's Sound Barrier, allowed Dallas to escape this aggression. From this point, it's an all-out blitz, with the Fuel giving Shock no time to think. With most of San Francisco down and the map wide open for them, Dallas take full advantage by immediately rushing up to the castle exit and blocking off the Shock's entry point to grab maximum map control. Striker forces his way out, but the instant he does, a perfect ice wall from Doha seals the door, locking the Shock inside, making for an easy pick. As soon as the wall falls, Nero blocks off some of the Fuel with his own, but they are immediately greeted with an Earth Shatter from Fearless. This, combined with the 2 Symmetra turrets above the doorway, force the Shock back. Only the 2 supports manage to retreat, but FD God is wiped out soon after while attempting to stall the cart. From here, the Fuel don't let off the gas, immediately teleporting to the entrance of the enemy spawn room to pick off Super and D-Mech Diva. This forces the Shock to have to wait at the back of the room to regroup while the Fuel glide the cart through the room. After regrouping, the Shock move up to contest, but another great ice wall from Doha divides Super from the rest of his team, and he gets picked off in a blizzard along with Nero. While all of this is happening, Hanbin catches the whole backline in another flux, leading to an easy push to the end of the point. While Super was almost able to reach the cart in time, a smart Earth Shatter from Fearless forced him to turn around in shield, allowing the cart to reach its destination. That's all for this episode of Behind the Action. What did you think of Dallas Fuel's performance? Are there any matches you would like to see analyzed from the Mei Melee? Let us know in the comments below. This video was made possible thanks to our wonderful patrons. A big thank you to everybody on this list, and shout out to Jason, Foxy, Lyra, Mauve, Nate, Nathan, Oshayo, Sierra, Shampoo, Weeaboo, Spartacus, and Yoshichi for being platinum supporters. And an extra special shout out to Steven, Noodles, Marco, Mookie, and Daniel for being diamond supporters. Thanks a ton guys, it means a lot to us. If you also want to support our channel and unlock perks, check out the Patreon link in the description below, or join our Discord server. If you want to help us out in a different way, leaving a like, subscribing, and hitting the bell to stay up to date is also appreciated. My name is Nikita, and thank you for watching.